Hello again and welcome. I'm Kate in the Nest and I'm here to do some stitching with you. So I'm hoping that you are well, that the weekend is being kind to you, and let's just have some fun. So I've been, as you, well, what, I don't know what to say. I was about to say I've been trying some new things. I'm an eclectic, and you never really know, do you, what I'm going to come out with, and nor do I. But I thought today I would share where I'm up to. I'm working on some um, different pieces for me, and I don't know whether I've showed you these before. I think I showed you this one. This is my nest, still one of my very, very favorite nests of all time. Perfect for these projects. I've got some beads here. Don't know whether we'll get up to those, but and in here I've also got my vintage piece that I'm working on. I've added to, oh, look, sorry, I had so much fun. I was able to put beads all around in the circle, and I just love that. Anyway, I'm getting excited. I'll show you more progress on that um, at a different time. But in this nest, I have things that go with that piece and random other little scrappy bits. So I'll take you through what I've been working on. These have been inspired by Kelli May-Krenz and her course, which is called Sew, actually as in SEW, itty bitty. And as I mentioned before, I love learning, as we all do, but I love absorbing and watching someone else. So that's why I'm hoping that you get inspired by watching me, because we are all ourselves. It sounds obvious, but what I'm trying to say is these are nothing like Kelly's. But I am enjoying that process, and I'm making, they're turning into a variation, I suppose, and a variation of Kate. So let's start with this one. I showed you before that I was using this bit of vintage hook and eye. They're the hook part. The tape, I've now gone over it. I've added some beads. There's so much opportunity. And for me, who has a short attention span, I just love that I can pick this up at any time of the day and add something. Like just before, we had visitors here, but I was just stitching away here. Um, and I think I've said before, I'm going to I don't know what I'll call them. It's almost like they're story tags, because at this point I don't see them as individual pieces of work, but they will become something bigger. So now I've got this one. This is more Cake Colors. It started off on a piece of blanket. Look at me being brave and showing you the back of it. But it's layer upon layer. And the joy for me is that they're like sample pieces as well. You just go, oh, let's do this stitch here. And I suppose what I'm doing more of is loving the interplay of my own, that's wool embroidery, over the other pieces. So it's not all beaded, it's not all one thing, it's just me experimenting. And I look at that and I think, oh, I did that in the dark last night and that red is too red. But I don't see it as a mistake. I see it as an opportunity where I'm going to change that color. This is a piece of harvested embroidery, which I've got more here in this nest, an applique. It actually started off, I think, oh, maybe that's even better. See, just talking to you helps. I was about to say it started off this way up, and that's the applique the right way. And then I thought, oh, and I like it this way. But now actually, I'm back to liking it this way, which makes more sense of this arc of flowers. I'll bring this up a little bit just so you can see in detail. And in fact, those reds don't look as wrong there. So it's little bits of our leftovers and also special pieces being integrated, experimenting. Here's this very vintage fabric with flowers, and here I've actually gone embroidered over the top of one, beads. This is a bit of trim, some mark making here in bright orange, which I haven't used very much before. So work in progress, little one, they're getting bigger. So that's why I'm thinking Kelly in her course, I think I've told you before, made 100 of these, but they're tinier. Like, and of course I could always chop them. In fact, there's an idea. That could be a separate one. And I have an idea. I'm going to put words on them so they tell a story, and probably just with ink, not just with. Anyway, so I want to work on those, and I just look at that. I've forgotten I started this one because it is different for me, but this is why it's so good. I had that beautiful vintage trim in the nest, and this beautiful needlepoint. I call them tapestries, but and the same applique as that one there. So there's another idea, like a series. You can, take the same one source of vintage vintage textile. I almost called it Vextile. And then just layers. So that was, I loved this tone that I don't usually use. And then I found, is this a fleur piece? I don't know, but that's unusual for my collection. It was a gift, I think. And it's belonging on that piece. So I'm hoping I can also expand my color palette. So I thought I want to do some embellishing. Like just before I came in, I found that little bit of vintage seersucker-y stuff. I haven't stitched that down, so we'll do some stitching, but I thought you might like to help me because I feel like I need another one in this series, because these have ended up a little bit too much the same size for me. That's why I was talking about cutting it. I'm going to so there we are. We have one that's going down that way, and then this one I think is a beautiful piece by itself, and it's sort of balanced already, or this way. Okay, so here we go. I now have 1, 2, 3, and they're all different sizes and shapes. That's more of what I want to be doing. Yep. So they can hang on a separate, maybe larger vessel, or of course anything else that I choose to make. A story quilt, a story skirt like Vanessa Kiki. I adore that, and I look at it often, and I want to make one of those. So let's just play. So I have, this is different, but it's a beautiful piece of textile, and literally just find things. I know a number of you have talked to me about in the comments, like saying how nice it is sometimes to limit ourselves to what, a specific amount of things. So what I'm learning is I have to adjust the scale and have tinier pieces. So let's just imagine that as the start. And now for some contrast. I've got, this is off one of my large nests that I made, and I went too far overboard and it was too large. And so this is not square. Does it matter? Does it matter? That was a question, not. Okay, so let's go over here. Plonk that on. So it's collage. It really is. I don't want to go too big. Actually, Kate, see, that's I'm learning. It's interesting. Like I'm hardly content with a tiny. Because look, I want to keep extending it, but I'm going to try and stay small. Okay. Oh, I really like that one now. Yeah. Really like. Okay, stay on the topic, Kate. Okay, let's change our thinking. I want to make it, or even that's the same size. Oh, I don't think I could make it any smaller. I feel my hands are too big for delicate work. Although I could, sorry, I hope I'm not making you dizzy. This is me thinking out loud. I suppose I could work bigger and then take the idea of harvesting my own stitching. I think I might have to do a bit of that with you. So basically, I've got a rectangle. Now I'm making it with a triangle edge. Let's go digging in here in case there's something nice and different. I like this braid trim. Let's put that just up. To know which is the right way. Let's go there. Oh, pin has bent. This one is where I started. Maybe it's good to go back. And I just have one piece of blanket and then a bigger piece of linen, which I ended up covering up, and then that print. So, nope. I do like that up there. Okay, let's try something, a different approach. I'm going to go small, Kate. I'd like to embroider those flowers. So why don't we go... I've made tags before, and basically it's exactly the same approach that I've done before. But they've been sort of one-offs and randoms in a little basket somewhere. But these are, I'm intentionally doing a series. Yep. This is a bit of fleur. And I know some people don't like me saying names all the time, but for me, you know that it's the memory of where they came from. Their story is very important to me and part of my practice. and I remember I'm liking this. So I've got a little bit of texture there, a trim, something that I can embroider. This is a bit of a piece that I didn't like. A bit too bold. This is linen that I have coloured. Wonder if I could slip that under there just because of the beautiful phrase, or over the top, not under, maybe a little bit sticky out here. Nope, something's not quite right there proportionally. So maybe I won't waste this little bit. Here's a bit I could ruche. Is that pretty? Oh, Michelle. Michelle, you'll know who you are. This was included with her gift of fabric to me a little while back, and I love this idea. It's a cluster. I thought I might make some of these as well, but I'd like to look at that, little tiny bits with a button with a backing, and I thought on some of these pieces this isn't the right one, but look at that for ready-made interest, layering, all those things that we love. Or I could put some coffee on that and make it more vintage. It could be the center of a flower like that. You know, I like that. It was just there. So then I've got my top right hand corner into some flowers. It's flower to flower. And is there something contrasty? I don't want the chenille again. So I'm making a mess of my... Have I wasted a flower? Probably. So why don't we just park that for a moment. I'll leave the nest here and I'll put these bits back in. I do like this idea, is this damask. Yeah, probably better, more of a contrast. It's going to work somehow. That feels better. Okay, just settle with those for a minute. And let's go and do some work on one of these now. Okay, this one. So I've embroidered those flowers. There's nothing much underneath. I want to preserve that. And I've got this piece here. What I've been enjoying is going back to this 4-ply sock wool, which I think it would be one of the earliest ones that I ever stitched with. And I better check that you're there. Yep. And here's a birdie I just noticed. So let's get that birdie out to smile at you in the nest. I have got one of these, so I'll use it. I have to use a thread thing with my beads, and I'm finding this is really good after breaking the other one. So just what I've been enjoying is sort of not even in thinking about embroidering, but just making dimension. How will I say it? Just making thick rows of stitching. It's probably the easiest in juxtaposition to these dainty beads and that dainty frill. So really thick and close together stitches. So it's both working as textural interest as well as putting this piece in place. Oops, I'm going quiet, I realised. Doing my favourite thing. Okay, so see, it's gone wonky because I took that pin out, but again, it doesn't matter. And in fact, I might leave that hanging because that's a story in itself. I'm just looking at this wool that I used for the lining of this nest. This is probably nearly a year old now, and it's exactly the same blanket that I used just recently. So why am I telling you that? I just think when you see a great blanket or a great piece of something or other, just know that it will be with you for a long time. So that's going to be a little pop-up, and I might indeed put a bead or something up over there. Who knows? Or a brooch or something. But I like that. But this little flower probably needs to be trimmed. That's better. Look at me. It's like pruning the garden. Oh, I still haven't picked my Daphne for the day. All right, what do I want to do next? Well, why don't we? So I'm just going to contradict myself. It'll all depend if I can thread this needle. my beading needle. And I promise I'll get over my excitement. Or something that many of you have been doing for many, 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 many years, but it is just, it's just so satisfying when I find a needle that I can thread and use in beading. Gosh, I've got one, so it's incredibly precious. Okay, I'll put that there. Oops. Even doing that threading, I've changed my mind. No, I want that to be a tag. I like, because it's patterned on the back as well. So let's do something risky. So this is my little tray that's starting to get more and more random beads on it. And we're not clotted up. So I'm just going to, now I've also realized that I've watched many who do double stitches in their beads, and now I've had the epiphany and understood why, because then they stay on their sides like that rather than the whole. And so I will work on that, but not yet, because I'm still enjoying the absolute. So I've got one. I was going to do a little, oh, that's wrong. See, I was saying too much. I made too big a stitch. I wanted to be doing a little pyramid. So I'll go out here. With a big one. And then up here. And then I'll have to do a better one for you, because I've actually never done a pyramid, but I was seeing the spikiness of that pattern under there. Let's try something different. I'll stay in the pink family though. See, why did I tell you I was making a pyramid? Because I actually can't. And that's my problem. Oh, I mean, just have to, yeah, it's not going to work, everyone. So change of plans. I'm just going to do random beads. I just can't do it. And I think, as I've heard many say before, you just learn by doing, and you work out what you can do, what comes easily, and what is too much of a challenge, or what takes the fun away. So I am learning that I can't do straight lines or intentional shapes yet. But just even that, above that stitching, I'm just going to go over to there. I know a number of you have told me that you have gold thread and beads, and they've been sitting on the shelf for a little while, and this has reminded you. So, flavour of the month. did order some more colours from Amazon, I have to say, because I like these little tiny containers and they have a lot of variety in them. And then I'll be done telling you all about that. Oh, excuse me, and will become part of the toolkit. Here we are. I've learned to keep that little beading needle with the beads. Look at those ones in there. Oh, I've got 5 cents in there as well. Okay, so that's a little bit of work on that one. We've got that one, we've got that one, we've got the blue one, which I'm not going to touch today, which leads me back to number 4 in this series that we just started a minute ago. And we will just do a little stitch on it. Although I've got wonderful thread in this, so let's not waste that. This is a deeper variegated pearl, and just going to indulge my love of French knots right at this point. And it's double, so there'll be thick ones. But rather than waste that thread, if I could get 3, that would be fantastic. Ooh, I'll get 2 easily. I might just put 2 ones on that. And then over here, 3. Sorry if my hands are in the way. Eek. Yep. And it doesn't matter that the other one doesn't have to be matchy-matchy. And then this thread, although it's not really as contrasty as I wanted. What about some mustard for Juju? In fact, I'm going to keep that out. Kelli does talk about looking for contrast, and I'm really understanding what she means by that now. The stitching. Don't know quite what to do. This is a new Kate when I actually hesitate about what cotton, what colour. I have to get my other, I know what I've got, sorry. Look at this. This pile of wool waiting to be twisted. So this is a very lolly hottie pink, which I don't actually love, which is why it's sitting there looking at me, but So I've doubled it, which is really giant fibre, onto this really big piece of blanket and tablecloth. We're making a big statement. I should have done, oh no, I can make that work. A big bunchy bit of hot pink down here. That's the biggest, thickest bit of stitching I've ever done, but I like it there. And I'm going to come back up here, because we don't worry about the backs here because they're going to be onto something or backed. Yeah. Cover up all of that. And because we don't want things to end at the same height, I'm going to continue this up here. And maybe not as close together. I want to think of a good name for these, so that when I talk to you about them, you'll know what I'm talking about. That's going to come undone. But for right now, I don't really mind, because something will go over the top. Maybe. All right, so there we are. We've started with the story of me making some small tags and starting to embellish with as many different textures that I can find. I chopped that one in half, so there's a lot of work to do on that one. This one is nice and beautiful under my hand. I need to do a lot more work down here, and I feel like I might trim that bit off like that, and I might even go down so it's got an odder shape, because that's not working for me. So that one, you've seen that one. What did I do on there? I added that and some beads, and then we've started this little one, tiny little baby. Okay, so I hope there was something in there that either made you smile or inspired you, and if not, just kept you company wherever you are, whatever you're doing. So until next time, this is Kate in the nest, trying to get into the habit of tidying up as I go, rather unsuccessfully, but you know how much I love just doing this, so it is what it is. So until next time, this is Kate saying bye.